Connie, and my business is called Faff Designs. Now, YouTube, throwing me curveballs today, has told me the best way to go live is vertical. Is it? Is it, YouTube? Is it? Because historically, YouTube lives and long form videos have always been landscape. And it's telling me to go vertical live. So we're going to see how this uploads. If there's big black spaces either side of this screen, then we're going to know that it's not the best. And YouTube lied to us. Hi, good morning from Georgia. Good morning from the UK. So, as you may be aware, I am based in the UK here. Let me know if the screen orientation looks okay, because I'm going vertical. That's what YouTube have told me to do. And I always with YouTube historically have been that way. But now it's telling me this way. So something could have updated and something could have changed. The comments, it looks weird. We're going to have to go with it because it wouldn't let me change the other way. I had to go into advanced settings and change the page orientation. And it told me that vertical was the recommended way to go live on YouTube. So we'll do it for this time, and then I'm going to have to look into it because I didn't know that was the case until I just pressed the button to go live, and it wouldn't let me. It kept, because I had my screen that way, landscape, and it kept telling me to turn my screen. It literally wouldn't let me go live without turning my screen. So we're going to have to do it for this one, and then I'm going to play it back obviously when it's finished, and then we'll look into it because something's changed. YouTube, social media, they change things overnight and then they just expect us to know. So, I'm based in the UK. We've got sunshine. We had rain, hence this frizzball this morning. And I have already driven to an airport this morning to pick my friends up who have just come back from holiday and were quoted an extortionate amount of money to get picked up in a taxi from the airport. So I said I'd go and pick them up. So I'm very tired, as you can see, very tired today. But I'm going to start something that you can see behind me. It's a ladder. It's a ladder. So here's my inspo for said ladder, and here's why I'm going to paint it. So we have a magazine over here called Reclaim. It's a very cool magazine. It's got lots of reclaimed stuff, as you might imagine. Secondhand, vintage, upcycled, that kind of thing. I was looking at it while I was on holiday and I saw this vintage ladder. It's a genuine vintage French fruit picking ladder. So it is a genuine vintage item. But obviously they're reselling them. This person in this magazine that's been featured, they're reselling them for £185 for a ladder. £185. Wow. It's good morning, Sue. Hello. The page orientation is a little bit strange today. YouTube insisted that I go live vertical. I'm usually horizontal. So that's why you can normally see a lot more of the background and not so much of my false wall where it reaches the ceiling. But it wouldn't let me go live without having my phone this way. So that's what I'm doing. YouTube told me to. So sorry if it's weird looking. So, vintage ladder. Genuine vintage French fruit picking ladder. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, that's a good price for a ladder. £185? Yeah, that's a lot. Guess what I've got? One of them. It's not genuine and it's not French. And I don't think it's ever been stepped on to pick fruit in its life. It's been made to look that kind of style. So traditionally they have that kind of tapered look. And I just happen to have this piece. Now this I bought from a secondhand store quite a few years ago now. Quite a few years ago, yeah. Didn't realise it was going to be as big as it was. Painted it in umber for a prop, for some staging. and then it's lived outside ever since. And I thought, I'm going to make it look like that. I'm going to make it look like that. And I'm going to use silk paint to do it. Not the likely choice, I know, but we all like a challenge. So if you can see on the close-up here, it's a two-tone look. It's not just one flat colour. So here, there's a little kind of design, tape design if you like. So the bottom bit here and here is a darker blue, and then the rungs all the way up to the top are this paler blue, and from that point on they're a paler blue. So I'm going to mimic that design with silk. Again, like I say, it's an unlikely choice. You'd normally go terra or chalk mineral paint for that kind of rustic look, but I think am I going to use silk? I don't know. I'm going to start off with using silk with you today anyway. We probably won't get as far as putting any blue on. So all I've done so far is bought this inside and hoovered the cobwebs off it, because there was quite a few. It was a coincidence, and I saw that and I loved that picture in that magazine. I thought it looked really nice, really pretty. So why not do something like this? This was just sitting outside looking pretty dull and boring, and it's brown paint. So all I'm going to start off with doing, and it's really weird not working on a piece of furniture. It's odd working on something that's like upright. So as you can see, all I'm going to do is use a Dixie Belle sanding sponge. I have already wiped this down to get the worst of it off, and I'm just going to lightly scuff, although I don't mind a bit of texture in this. I don't want anything to be kind of flaky or peeling off. So I'm going to get the worst of it off. With this. How is everyone today? If you follow me on my social media platforms, you might have heard my story from this morning from the airport drive. It was quite eventful. Nearly peed myself. Yeah, that was fun. So basically, I went past somewhere where I could have called in and stopped, but I didn't want to be late for my friends because they'd already landed. So I didn't stop. I drove straight past the area that I could have stopped to go to the loo, carried on going. Then I hit traffic, bad traffic, standstill traffic on the motorway, and immediately regretted my choices of driving past the last place that I could have stopped to go to the toilet before the motorway. So I'm sitting there, not getting anywhere, but desperately needing a pee. And I'm so sorry if this is too much information, by the way, but it made my friends howl with laughter. I rang them. They'd already landed. They were waiting for me in the airport, but I couldn't leave any earlier because I had to drop my kids off at school this morning, so I had to just leave straight after that. And I said, I'll get there as soon as I can get there. So I'm ringing them and I said, don't come and meet me in the car park, because they said, oh, we'll walk from the terminal, because if you know big airports, you can't park anywhere near them. So they said, we'll walk, tell me which car park you're in, we'll walk and we'll find you so that you don't have to like come all the way down to the terminal, you won't be able to park and everything. And I said, don't do that, because I left my vehicle and ran. I ran to the nearest building, which was a police station. Who knew there was a police station at an airport? Well, I think it was a police station. It said police on the front of it anyway. There was a police lady coming out, and I'm glad you're cleaning garage. I just made it. As the police lady was coming out, I said, I am so sorry, is there a toilet in there? And she looked at me like, what? And she looked around, and I think she was going to tell me to go to the terminal, but then she saw the fear in my eyes, and she said, yeah, come this way. So she let me go into this building with there was a swipey card thing, and it was like security, and I was like, nice. So she took me to the toilet, and let me use the facilities in there, in that building, whatever that building was. It had police on the side of it. And, well, thank goodness she was there, because it would have been a different story if she wasn't, put it this way. My friends were laughing at me. They thought it was hilarious. I was soaking wet because it was chucking it down with rain. I ran across a dual carriageway to get to the building. Highly dangerous, but you put your life on the line when you're desperate for the loot. Honestly, I should have stopped where I could have stopped, and none of that would have happened. So I'm just getting rid of anything that's flaky. Yeah, sorry for basically getting very personal with that story. It was a little bit too much information, but it's my funny story of the day and I had to share it with you. But we're all good. We're all good. It just happens to me when I get in a car. I get in a car, I instantly need to pee. And I'm like, I just left the house 10 minutes ago. But I don't know what it is. I'm like a child. There's also, right at the top here, I remember whacking a nail in here to hang a plant off it. So I'm going to take that out right now. Ow. Just pinch my finger with the pliers. So, take that out. Come on. Oh, there we go. That's out. So, as I say, this is definitely not vintage. It's been made... It's solid, but it's been made out of like chunkier bits of wood. It's not really the loveliest looking thing, but I think it will be quite good to hang throws on, and towels, blankets maybe. What's the name of the ladder again? I'm going to see if I can find one here in the States. The ladder, ladder. It's called, so hang on, the official name is a French fruit picking ladder. Is that what you mean, the name of the ladder? So yeah, French fruit picking ladder. You just maybe fruit picking ladder, but traditionally they are that kind of tapered look. So they've got a narrower top, and I think it's so you can lean that on a tree and then climb up it to pick the fruit. I think so. It like that sort of narrow bit at the top, you'd lean that on a tree. If you Google fruit picking ladders, there'll probably be a picture on Google of how they are leant on a tree so that you can climb up and pick the fruit. Very nice, very cool, and very unique actually, a very unique shape. So that is pretty much all the prep I'm going to do. Like I say, I've already wiped it down. I've got just sanded those kind of rough areas, but obviously we want to kind of emulate that vintage look, so I'm not too fussed about it looking perfect. So like I said, I am going to do this in silk. Not the likeliest of choices, but also can't be bothered to top coat it, and this has got a top coat built in, so that's perfect. I'm going to use as a base coat, because on my picture, let me get it again. On my picture, I see bits of white peeking through. Can you see? Right at the top, we've got some white peeking through, and it's very subtle, but it does peek through in a few areas. So I'm going to base coat this in white. Obviously, I've got umber. This is the colour umber. This is also silk mineral paint, but I needed a brown ladder for some staging I was doing. I can't even remember why. but I painted it brown. Originally, it's a very pale modern pine. So I know that it's not valuable, it's not vintage. I'm not ruining something that could be worth a bit of money, don't worry. But that's never stopped me before. So I'm just going to use one of these. So this is not usually the brush that you'd use with silk. If you use silk, normally you'd want a smooth finish and beautifully kind of flat one colour coverage. I'm not going to use silk for that today. I'm going to use it with a natural bristle brush. These are really inexpensive brushes from Dixie Belle. They're like, I don't know, $6 or something. They've got natural bristles and I use these a lot. So this is going to help me get a little bit of texture in the paint so that it kind of gives me that kind of vintagey look. So this is all I'm going to do today is get the base coat on, and I'm going to pounce the surface so that it's not smooth. So if you want a little bit of texture in your paint finish, you can just change the way you apply paint. So obviously if I was to, whoa, we went for it, that was a big old drip. If I was to apply it like this, that is going to give me a smoother finish than if I was to apply it like this. So just changing the way that you apply your paint can give you a completely different look. Also, if you wanted a heavily textured finish, you can add something called sea spray to your paint. I'm not going to use it today because I don't want it too textured and clumpy. But if you wanted to add more texture than what you can physically get by just stippling it on, you can add sea spray. So it's a powder, and you pour a little bit into a pot, pour your paint into the pot, mix it together, and it gives you a kind of much thicker consistency. You can use it with silk, you can use it with chalk mineral paint, you can use it with terra. So you can use it across the board with all of the paint lines, and it just, like I say, it causes you to have like little gritty lumps and bumps in your paint, which is obviously going to help give you texture. But I'm not going to use it on this one today. I'm just going to apply my paint in that kind of motion. If you want to see sea spray in action, then head over to my YouTube channel, which is called Faff Designs. I use it an awful lot to create texture and lots of different looks. So you can create a beachy look, you can create a weathered look, you can create a really kind of industrial vibe with it, really heavily distressed, chippy kind of look with sea spray as well. There's lots of different ways that you can apply sea spray and use it to create different effects. So this is just I suppose here we're going for we're just going for a faux, like vintage rustic finish with this. It's not just going to be a flat painted kind of ladder. We're gonna go for a little bit of a faux finish. I also love working with sea spray. It's amazing. It's such a good product. You can create so many different looks with it as well. In fact, maybe we should use sea spray. Maybe we should, because this ladder is very sort of modern looking. It's got no dings or dents to it at all, because it's been made with brand new pieces of wood. So if we're going to go for that authentic kind of rustic look, maybe we should be adding a little bit of sea spray to our silk. So like I say, you can use it with silk, chalk mineral paint and terra. Terra will give you quite a lot of texture anyway, because it doesn't have any self-leveling properties in it. So terra holds the texture much more than chalk mineral paint and silk. They've both got self-leveling properties in them. So this wants to go flat. So by adding a little bit of sea spray in, it is going to kind of help us get that more kind of textured look. So these, usually what I mix paint in, just paper plates. They're pretty inexpensive, and you can, oh, don't want that. Don't want a big old lump. They're pretty inexpensive. You can buy them in bulk. So you put your paint in. This is sea spray. So you can buy it in this size, which is a big old 13-ounce pouch. Or you can buy it in the small 8-ounce tubs now, because people were wanting to buy it, but not in huge quantities. I will buy it in the huge quantities. But Dixie Belle had some feedback that people wanted to buy it, but obviously in smaller quantities. So they've released it in a little 8-ounce jar, which you can buy if you just wanted to do a couple of projects. It goes a long way. One of those pouches lasts me months and months, and I use it quite a lot. So it's a powder. You just add it into your paint, and then you just mix it together. That's it. So the more powder or sea spray you add, the thicker consistency. And it, like I say, a little bit goes a long way. So the best thing to do is add it in small increments. She says like she's the expert. I am so heavy-handed with stuff. I tend to add way too much. And I'll never learn my lesson. But I would recommend that you add it in increments, because you can very, very easily make a thick paste if you're not careful. And then you have to obviously add a lot more paint to kind of thin it out. So add it in small increments, mix it all together. And also don't mix a huge amount all at once, because what you'll find is that it does tend to make the paint dry a little bit quicker. So mix a small amount, use it, and then mix another small amount, because like I say, it tends to go a bit dry and sort of claggy quite quickly. I've also I've got a hair in there as well, one of mine, because I molt like a dog. So that's all mixed in. So you can see the consistency of the paint now. I can tip the bowl up and it's not dripping out. Before, that would have dripped straight out on the floor. So you can see how much that's kind of thickness that has added to the paint. Also, if you look really carefully, try and get a closer for this. If you look really carefully, see if my camera will focus. It's the front facing camera, so it might not, but you can see little lumps and bumps in there. That is kind of like the gritty texture that you want to, basically, if you want a rustic, weathered, chippy, distressed kind of look, that's the perfect consistency. So it's not too thick, it kind of stays on your stirring stick. It's going to drop off in a second, but it's not too thin, not too thick. And you can see the difference straight away. Or can you? So here is where I've just put a stippled base, and that is the difference when you've added a little bit of sea spray to the paint. So you saw how much I added. It wasn't a huge amount. Can we also just take a second to appreciate how amazing the coverage is of this white? This is, if there ever was a go-to white for me, which there isn't, because I don't use white an awful lot, definitely not for my main colour. If there was ever a go-to white for me, it'd be saltwater. The coverage of this white is amazing. And I have used other brands of paint and been on my 5th, 6th coat of white before it's got any sort of coverage to it. This is covering that dark brown in one coat. That's pretty amazing for a white. You've got a question. Can you sprinkle it on a piece that you're working on and then paint over it and sand back a little and get texture that way? Yes, you can. That gives you more of a chippy kind of look. And if you go to my YouTube channel, there is a video on there that I've done that exact technique with. And it's a bookcase that I painted in a sort of pale kind of bluey greeny colour, and it's a few months ago that I did it. Could have even been last year now, I can't even remember, all the days merge into one. But it's on there. If you look, if you search back, if you scroll back through my videos, I think it's called something like Mega Chippy or something. So yes, you absolutely can create that kind of look by sprinkling it on. Morning, Jeannie. Hello. So we're not upcycling. We're not upcycling a ladder. We're downcycling. We're making it look older than what it is. So this is a new ladder that's been made to look like a vintage kind of fruit picking ladder. It's the same kind of shape with the tapered top, but it's made out of new wood. It's really solid, but it's been made out of new pieces of pine. I'm going to make it look old. I'm going to try and make it look old because I saw one in a magazine that they were selling for a very high price, and I thought I can do that. I can make that look. Or we can make it look similar anyway. So I'm just whacking this all over the base. I'm not going to do the whole thing with you because that would be pretty boring, wouldn't it? But I'm going to, hopefully you've learned a little bit about the importance of texture if you go in for that kind of distress look. And if you do like faux finishes and texture and distressing and industrial furniture, more specifically, you need to keep your eyes peeled on my channel, because the video that I'm about to drop in the next couple of days is very rustic and distressed and industrial. And I've done it with one terra colour. Haven't used multiple colours. There are other products that I've used, but only one terra clay paint colour has been used to create the look. So make sure you subscribe. And the reason I'm plugging my channel so much is because I'm trying to hit 10,000 followers, 10,000 subscribers. Different names here on YouTube, isn't it? It's subscribers on YouTube, followers on Instagram, likers on Facebook. Down with the lingo of social media. Trying to hit 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel by the end of this year. Now that seems quite a small target, especially because the audience on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel is quite high. My channel's only little. It's only a little baby. I've only been doing videos since I think the start of this year. So yeah, if you could all however many thousands of you that are subscribed to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel, if you all went and subscribed to my channel, then I'd hit that target, but you won't. For some reason. I'm just kidding. You don't have to. But if you wanted to, you could. It'd be nice. So yeah, I'm about to drop that video next couple of days. I'm working on it. I'm editing it. I have literally got my laptop open in the next room and I've been editing it this morning. So that will hopefully be done. I don't think it'll be done today because I have to take my daughter to an open evening for secondary school. Let's not talk about that. She is not old enough to go to secondary school. I won't allow it. It's not happening. She's going to stay at home with me for the rest of her life. Hi Rose, I am from the UK. Good morning. I'm from the UK and I'm painting a ladder. I'm painting a ladder with Dixie Belle paint. I'm using silk mineral paint and I've added some texture additive to it to create quite a lot of texture for my base coat, because I saw this ladder in a magazine and they're selling that for £185. It is a vintage fruit picking ladder and I thought I'm going to have a bit of that. So I'm going to emulate that look on my ladder that is not vintage, but it's actually quite a modern piece that has been made in the same style as a fruit picking ladder. So it's tapered at the top here and it's wider at the bottom. So it looks the same style, but it's not a genuine vintage article at all. I'm in the UK and I am smack bang in the centre of the UK, right in the Midlands. So I think adding sea spray to this was a good call. It's a good call because it is looking... No, I don't live in London. I am several hours away from London. Yeah, it was a good call, this. It's adding quite a lot of texture to that base, so that's going to help with this kind of vintage look. Also, if you're wondering about the page orientation, every time, and I've been doing lives on this channel for quite some time now, I've always had a landscape phone. So my phone's always been that way because that's always been the way that YouTube have requested you to do it when you do a live. Today I'm vertical because that's the way they told me to do it, and I tried to change it and they wouldn't let me. So if the screen looks weird, let me know what it looks like to you, because I might have to go into the settings and mess around with them and possibly try and change it for next time. I have no idea why today it told me to go vertical. It literally wouldn't let me go live until my phone was vertical. If I was landscape, it said change your phone, change your phone, change your phone. So I changed my phone, changed it to vertical. You know, next month winter is starting in the UK. Feels like it already has, I'll be honest. We haven't had a great summer, actually. The weather's been pretty abysmal. Even for the UK, it's been pretty abysmal. The sun's out now, but yeah. We are at the back end of summer, going into autumn. It's usually my favourite time of year. But yeah. It's not been that great this year. But there are definitely worse things that could happen. So as well as making a textured base for this ladder that obviously we're going to make look vintage, this also helps cover up imperfections. So if you do have a piece that you think might not be the best piece to paint, you can cover sort of minor imperfections up by using sea spray and paint mixed together, because it kind of gives you that kind of textured base anyway. So here, for example, there's a couple of dings in the side here. I'm not going to fill them. We're going to embrace the flaws. We're going to embrace the character. And oh, Rose, there's a lot of questions here. I don't make any money from this channel because it's not my channel. This is the Dixie Belle Paint channel that I am live on at the moment. But if you want to subscribe to my channel, that's called Faff Designs, and I do make pittance on that channel. I actually work for less than minimum wage on my YouTube channel, but you know. There we go. So I'm going to there we go. I'm going to just change the camera around because the camera on the rear of this phone is far superior to the front. There you can see the texture. So that's a good bit to show you actually, because you see, hang on. So you see this bit here, there's quite a lot of peaks like in the texture itself. This is the bit that I did kind of, I don't know, a couple of minutes ago. So what sometimes I do to stop it looking so kind of peaky, because when you've got lots and lots of peaks like that, it tends to kind of look not very authentic, I think. Sometimes what I do is I'll get the brush that I've been using and I'll just really lightly drag it over the peaks so that it starts to flatten them down. Obviously this paint is trying to dry, so as I am running that over the top, it's going to kind of just flatten down those highest points. There's another one here at the top. I'm hardly pressing on at all, and it just kind of flattens them down a little bit, and I personally think that looks more authentic than lots and lots of peaks in the paint where I've just, you know, where I've stippled it. If you run areas of your brush over, there's another bit here on the rung that's very like kind of samey. So this is kind of just gonna, it takes those high areas out and just creates a little bit of, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it just flattens them out and it stops it looking so forced and it looks a little bit more authentic. And to me, what it looks like is old paint, which is kind of what we want, because the one in my magazine looks like it's been painted over a couple of times, and then the last coat of paint, which is obviously the blue, has kind of been chipped away at or distressed or weathered to reveal the original paint underneath, which is the white. So by creating that bit of texture and then kind of smoothing it down, it looks a little bit like weathered paint. That's what it looks like to me anyway. So I am going to completely finish the base on this. I'm going to leave it all to dry, and then I'm going to be adding my colours afterwards. And I'm going to be making a short video for this for the Dixie Belle YouTube channel, so it will be on this channel. I don't know when it'll be uploaded, but it'll definitely be in the next few weeks or so. So if you want to see how it finishes up and whether I managed to pull the look off or not, you need to make sure you subscribe to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. Also subscribe to my channel and get me to 10,000 subscribers. That would be amazeballs. And I will be back here same time next week with a different project, and I don't know what that project will be yet, but it will be a different project. So I'll be back same time next week, different project, different products to show you, and I will see you then. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.